Alright guys, another episode coming at you from the car. I wanted to get it filmed while it was fresh in my brain. It's hard to know sometimes, like you're in a school, and especially if you're in a big school, there's hundreds of members and not the same instructors every day. It's hard to know, like how does my head instructor know I'm not being missed? How do they know that I don't deserve that next stripe, or that I'm not ready for my blue belt? Or more importantly, how do they know I am ready, right? Like that's usually the problem in jiu-jitsu, is most people are like, I'm about to go for blue belt and I don't know if I deserve it. Like you hear that all the time. Guys, my name is Bill Jones, head instructor of top level martial arts in beautiful downtown Cuyahoga Falls. I'm a black belt under Master Pedro Sauer, and I run a school that is relatively large in size compared to most Brazilian Jiu-jitsu schools. So, and when I say size, I mean student body. We have 3,000 square feet of mat, classes literally every single day, Monday through Sunday, and have about 240 members. Now that includes kids and adults. So, and we're growing. We're still getting bigger. So how do I, as the head instructor, know when someone's ready to be promoted? Like, that's a tough question, right? And there's three major things that come to mind when I do this, when I promote people. And number one is that you need to have a curriculum of some sort. Now, that curriculum can be whatever the instructor wants it to be. If you're in a sport-oriented school, it might be a lot of movement. It might involve fitness. It might, there's a lot of things it could involve. But there needs to be something that you're accountable to. And it doesn't mean that that's all you learn either. It doesn't mean that, let's say your curriculum, I'm going to make it really small just for the purpose of this video. Let's say it's like 3 submissions from each position, and 3 sweeps from the guard, and 2 escapes from each bad position. So let's say that's the curriculum, and let's say that they're specific, like specifically an arm bar, specifically a triangle, specifically a pendulum sweep. Does that make sense? So the counter argument to that is always like, well, that's no way to teach. That's like too karate style. I get what you're saying, and I'm not saying that's all that gets taught. If you're taking 2 years to go from white belt to blue belt, you're not just going to learn like 15 moves. It's just not the way things work. You're going to ask questions. You're going to say, hey, while I was rolling, this happened. What do I do about that? You're going to learn from that situation and that experience. But there needs to be some baseline. And that's really what a curriculum is the minimum standard. Most people, if they train for 2 years, are probably going to excel far above that standard. If you said, okay, well, that's a bad, let's use the example of like someone who's maybe bigger, right? Their body's bigger and they can't, maybe an inverted move or like a reverse de la Hiva type thing is on your curriculum. And you're like, yeah, that guy just isn't built for reverse de la Hiva, but he's got an amazing top side control, best pressure in the gym. Like there's things that can be flip-flopped probably in situations where you can say, okay, well, his mechanics in this situation aren't the best, but his mechanics in the next situation are really, really good. And, that's how it's always going to be. There's always going to be people who excel at different things. So in light of having a curriculum, it's important that your school has a way to disseminate that curriculum, something consistent. In my school, we have fundamentals classes. The only thing that's taught in fundamentals classes are the 88 moves from white to blue belt, as prescribed by Master Pedro Sauer. Those techniques are the only thing that gets taught in those classes. So that's how we do it. And then there's open ranks classes that every belt can come to. And then I actually have a class for my blue belts and above. And then I have a competition class, a couple of those, for people who want to, excel even higher and go to the next level and really take their game higher. So that's the idea of how a curriculum is supposed to work. It's not supposed to be a rigid structure that this is the only thing you learn until you get to point A. All right, so that's number one, have a curriculum. Number 2, have instructors you can trust. If you're in a school that's big like mine, I have myself, and especially like for the kids programs, I have 3 other instructors who run my kids programs. I barely ever teach kids classes. And then I have an instructor who runs my like 6 a.m. like super early morning classes, and some that run like, you know, different days that I can't be there. So I communicate with these people all the time. We have a staff only page. We talk. We say, hey, so and so is like a non-tapper, man. You just got to let go on every submission of him, or he's just going to let his arm break. And you know, we know who those people are, and we communicate back and forth about what people need and what we think their weaknesses are and their strengths are. And you got to have your school should have some sort of certification program for that teaches them to key in on those kinds of things. You know, for me, and it's more than just going through and knowing the moves, right? It's about being a good teacher as well. You know, we have a certification program that goes through to talk to all those people. Everybody I have, you know, I have a brown belt that I didn't promote to brown belt. He came in much later, already at brown belt under Cuyahoga. You know, that guy's he's a monster on the mat. But you know, we have to sit down and say, hey, these are the standards. This is what I expect you to know. And he's like, oh, cool, yeah, that makes perfect sense. You know, so even these high level guys you know, they understand. So that's the second part, is as a head instructor, I have to trust the people that I have empowered to teach others for me. I have to trust them 100%, and I have to empower them 100%. Like, if they teach a move that I wouldn't have taught, I can't yell at them for that. You know, if it's an open ranks class and they teach a way of doing something that I'm like, you know, unless it's wrong, but I'm not going to yell at them. Like, you know, I have to give them the freedom and the power to be a good instructor and to help people as they see fit. So that's important as well. You know, is that all the instructors in the place are empowered to do their job well. And then the third thing, in my opinion, is some sort of testing process. As you get large, big schools, you know, you have that curriculum, you have the good instructors, you need a testing process. And as you come closer to the tests, as I come closer to them, I come up to all my instructors, I say, who's having problems, who needs work, you know, the so-and-so has the time in, you know, to probably go to blue belt or to purple belt or whatever. Do you think they're there? Yes or no? You know, and if they have if the answer is no, it's like, okay, well, what do they need to work on? Let's get with them and make sure that they know what they need to work on to get to that level. But if you don't have a curriculum in place and you don't have standards in place, it's hard to get with people on that, you know, especially like at the higher levels. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, you know, your arm bar has sucked for the last 8 years, but no one told you. Like, how did that happen? How did that slip by? So that's the kind of things, and this is the kind of question that comes usually from a beginner, or other instructors want to know. But you know, these are the kinds of things I think that you need to have in place. You need to have some sort of testing system, because 200 plus people, it's just too many, unless you got a bunch of black belts underneath you that can promote people. It's just too many to go to every single class and be promoting people in class. So you just need a test day so that you can promote and they can show off that they know the whole curriculum and you know, everything else they know, and roll, and you can watch them roll, and you can feel them roll, you can roll with them. You know, these things are important. You know, that's it, man. Curriculum, trust, tests. That's how I do it. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for watching. By the way, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. I will talk to you later.